Star Wars games used to be my top games to play, and well, it really still is, but in recent years, there's been a lack of AAA titles, with Battlefront 1 and 2, a few mobile games, and the LEGO series really being the only notable recent releases. But it seems this all may be changing with the new announcement from Respawn Entertainment for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which is a pretty interesting name. I really dig it. This game may be exactly what fans of the franchise have wanted this entire time. Now, I got a release date, we'll talk about that in a moment. We're also going to theorize about the combat and other things, so let's get right into it. What exactly is this game, and why should you be excited? Jedi Fallen Order is a game that was surprisingly announced a couple years ago at E3, or a year ago. I believe it was last E3 actually, but we knew nothing about it when it was announced until recently. Now, this game is being developed by Respawn Entertainment, the same people behind Apex, and there's a few reasons I think we should be excited about this game, but it's important to not get overhyped for it. First, let's talk about the announcement trailer and what I believe this game actually is like. Now, the trailer is playing on the screen right now, and there's actually a couple things we can learn from it. For instance, the villain is going to be an Inquisitor, specifically the second sister. Now, there are 10 known Inquisitors, of which are all assigned a number, but it is said there are a couple out there hiding in secret. Now, we don't know much about the second sister, as we've really only seen her appear in the comics a couple times, and I really don't read the comics, which, being a Star Wars fan, a big one at that, I really should. But this makes her that much more interesting to me. She's surrounded in mystery. Now, if you're not aware, Inquisitors are basically badasses trained by Darth Vader himself to hunt down and kill the remaining Jedi who are supposed to die by Order 66, but survived the Empire's destruction. Now, these Inquisitors are strong Force users and are actually some of the more intriguing characters in the Star Wars verse. Which, if you're interested in Star Wars at all, I have to recommend checking out Star Wars Rebels, a TV show by Disney, but do not let that fool you. This show is actually incredible and shows many of the Inquisitors and how they react and just how badass they actually are. I really like the Inquisitors, which is one of the reasons I'm really excited to play this game, and it's just a good thing to watch to go ahead and prepare for the game in general and just learn about the Inquisitors if you're curious. Anyways, I got off topic there. Let's go ahead and talk about the main character you're going to be playing as in this game, Padawan Cal Kestis. I probably got his name wrong. Now, we don't know much about this young Padawan, not yet. We know he survived Order 66. We know he has a droid companion named B1, which I guess B stands for Buddy. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know why. Now, he also has a Jedi Master, who I assume will actually die early on for story purposes, but that's just a guess. But the most exciting part, at least to me, is that Cal is actually played by no other than Cameron Mohan. I'm sorry if I got that last name wrong, who is actually the actor who played in both the TV series Gotham, of which he played the Joker, and Shameless, where he played a guy named Ian. Fun little fact, he is the second Joker to actually play a Jedi character. Mark Hamill played the Joker in some of the animated films, which actually shows you how good an actor is if he can actually play that Joker role. Now, there's not much else we actually find out in this trailer, but we do find out a couple things we'll talk about in a minute. But first, I think it's better to move on to something a bit more important, the combat. The developers have actually come out and described a bit about the combat, but I have my own thoughts I'll get to in a moment. Starting off, they stated that the combat will be heavily focused on lightsaber fighting, with Force powers of course being a part of it, though since we are at Padawan, his Force ability may not be that powerful. They also said it will be more strategic. Similar to the Dark Souls series, you'll be able to dodge, you'll have a roll, and of course a block, and probably other similar mechanics. Now, I'm not saying this is a Star Wars version of Dark Souls, just that it shares those type of mechanics. Now, lightsaber combat is said to be more than just a simple hack and slash system. They have specifically described it as intentional combat, which basically means you have to think about every move you do, every move you make, but I may have a better idea of what they mean. In 2003, a Star Wars game released, a game that added a fresh take to the Star Wars games as a whole. Others also released that were very good, but I'm specifically talking about Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. Now, the combat in this game may be exactly what they mean. It's a good example of intentional combat. In this game, you have to actually plan every hit. The combat is unique, it has directional based combos, and with this incredible mod, Evolved Combat, or Combat Evolved, I forgot which way it goes, it makes it the most realistic, intentional combat in any Star Wars game, new and old. Now, you can get this mod on the Nexus website, and if you want to experience the combat, you can actually usually pick up Jedi Academy and its sequel, Jedi Outcast, for under $5, and I highly recommend it. Anyways, back on topic. Now, this is probably more of a conspiracy theory, if anything, so take what I say with a grain of asteroid dust. Another reason I think this game may be more similar to the Jedi series than we think is because of how similar the cover art is with each other, and the name itself is actually strongly similar. But this, of course, could be a big coincidence, but it's one of the main reasons I'm excited to get my hands on this title so I can see if I'm actually right. But I think we should still all manage our hype. Alright, before I bore you to death, let's go ahead and talk about some more juicy details. First off, this game is going to be fully in third person, no first person view at all. It's releasing November 15th of this year, which I'm sure most of you know by now. And there's going to be no microtransactions. The developers have come out and talked about it and said no microtransactions at all, no loot box, none of that bullshit. And it's actually said to have no multiplayer either, which I can't really, I'm trying to weigh if I think that's a good thing or a bad thing. Now this could change further down the line, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now if this is true, this means they are taking that rare single player story focused route, which is a good thing. Even though the Jedi Knight series had a very good multiplayer system, I wouldn't be mad if that system ended up in this game, but I don't mind no multiplayer. I'm always down for a good story driven game. I can only hope the story is going to be well done here, which I do believe it will be. And with Cameron bringing his quirky, amazing acting to Star Wars, I think we may be in for a hell of a ride that we're just not expecting. Now, what do you think about all this? Were you hoping for multiplayer? Let me know in the comments below. I'd like to know what you think. Now, more about the story. I think we as the main character won't start off by having our lightsaber, no, but instead build up to the point of finding it early on in the story. Maybe he destroyed his saber trying to escape Order 66, or better yet, since he still has his master at his side, maybe he's not wielded a lightsaber before because he hasn't had a chance to go through his trial. Which would make sense. That's how he would acquire his saber in the game. In the beginning, he would go through his first Jedi trial. That would be really cool and actually would be pretty interesting. I'm holding out hope that we'll actually be able to customize our weapon in some way. Maybe switch out the color crystals or the hilts. It's 2019. I think this is going to be a necessary thing to be in the game. They're definitely going to add it in my opinion. I could be wrong. We'll just have to wait and see like everything else. Now, progression will also be a thing, but I'm not sure how they plan to implement it. I'm also hoping they will surprise us with some cameos from past characters, maybe via holograms. And maybe these holograms show some more of what happened to the Jedi during Order 66. I think this is a perfect chance to do something like this, but at this point, it's just a pipe dream. Now they could also throw more than one Inquisitor at us, maybe some of the rumored secret ones I mentioned earlier. I can't wait to learn more about the second sister, but I do have a few guesses of who she might actually be. I was actually able to gather some info on the second sister from Wikipedia, which is Star Wars versions of Wikipedia, which is usually a pretty accurate website, so I do believe this article. Now it is said that the second sister was actually a Jedi who had fallen from the Jedi Order and joined the dark side to be trained by Lord Vader to hunt down the remaining Jedi who survived Order 66. Now this had to happen during the Clone Wars, and the reason I bring this up is that in the TV series Star Wars Clone Wars there was a Jedi who actually fell from the Order. Her name was Barriss. She was actually Anakin Skywalker Padawan's Ahsoka's friend, but because of a certain event that I won't spoil, she turned to the dark side and we've actually no idea what happened to her after the events in the show, which I do recommend you go watch. Honestly, the timeline matches up. It logically makes sense that Barriss could in fact be the second Inquisitor, and I may actually be right on this, but I also might be grasping at straws here. It might be a long shot. Also, the body resemblance is there. They actually look alike from the comparison you see here. And it just gives me a strong impression of Barriss. And if this is the case, if Respawn put Barriss as the second Inquisitor, that would be amazing. That would mean that they're actually putting thought and love into the story. They're taking time to go back to the series, and they're paying attention to what Star Wars fans actually want in a game, and this is it. We love reoccurring characters to return from unknown places as a Sith. We love that shit. We eat it up, and if that's here, then this is going to be a great game. Alright, let's go ahead and move on. It is also known that there will be some type of boss fight, so it also draws that comparison from Dark Souls, but then again, many different games have bosses. Now, some also think the gameplay might also be related to the Star Wars Force Unleashed series, which the first game is actually really good, so it wouldn't be a bad thing, but I still stand strongly on my opinion of what the game will be like. It may even be the mix of all these different games I've mentioned here. Now this whole video I kept mentioning saying we should manage our hype, but honestly that's not a simple task, especially since the possibilities are so great and I really can't keep my excitement in check. But if it does turn out to be a trash release, then I really do apologize, but I doubt this will be the case. Now a quick note before we continue on about the game. If you've made it this far in the video and you've put up with my amateur content, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. You are what's making me able to post videos and share videos. You are the reason why I can keep this up, and honestly I can't thank you enough for that. So whether I'm getting 20 views or whether I'm getting 100, it does not matter. I'm grateful for every single one of you, and I will continue to post content as long as one person is asking for it. So let's go ahead and move on. What do you guys think? Am I wrong to be hyping up a title being published by EA, or do you think this game has a chance? Be sure to let me know. And if you're new, consider subscribing for more videos on upcoming content and all kinds of other videos I have planned. I have a lot of ideas, but I need your help to bring them to light. Where does Fallen Order take place? I'm not sure, but I do think we will be dealing with multiple planets, but how many? I honestly couldn't tell you. Now there are some more interesting details we can pull from the trailer, not many, but a little bit. We can see our Padawan in a cantina chatting with someone, trying to hide from the Empire. That's just a nice little detail. However, way more interesting, we see what could be our first confrontation with the second sister. Then we see Cal in a ship with B1, and that ship is under attack by, again, the second sister. From all this, we can actually paint a scene that might actually be in the game. Now this is all speculation, none of this is facts. Let's say our guy is in that cantina talking to whoever, and he notices the stormtrooper look at him, so he's like, oh shit, I better bounce. So he goes out and he goes to leave. Well, maybe he didn't know, but the second sister was sensing him that entire time, and she found him at that cantina, which is how she confronted him in the street right outside the cantina. Now I'm only guessing this is right outside the cantina, that's what it looks like to me. I could be 100% wrong on this. Now he sees her, and they give each other a look like it's the first time they see each other, so we know this is the first confrontation between them. And he looks at her, but he doesn't want to fight her, he runs away instead. Why could this be? Well, this could be the beginning of the game where you don't have your lightsaber yet. That would actually be kinda interesting. Now, you escape with your B1 droid, you go to your ship and you start flying off, but then all of a sudden, you're being attacked by the second sister again, and she's trying to take your ship down, and maybe she actually causes you to crash, and maybe that's what starts the big mission in the game, or whatever. This is all just theories, of course, it's just me guessing, but I find this kind of exciting. And if this is just the first scene, we probably are in for a hell of a ride like I mentioned earlier. Now we also can pull one more thing from the trailer, but that's it, and that's the lightsaber that Cal is holding at the end. Now, a lot of people think this might be the lightsaber he's using, and they kind of trick you to thinking that when he's holding that damaged lightsaber and all of a sudden it switches to a scene where he draws his lightsaber and turns it on. Well, actually, these two scenes look kind of different. It looks like they're in different locations, so maybe this damaged saber actually isn't his. Maybe it's a Sith Lord or someone who we don't know about yet from the Old Republic, or who knows. I'm only guessing here, but it's not his. I don't think this is the saber we are going to use personally, which means we might have a chance to actually customize our lightsabers, which is good news. There are so many reasons to be excited about this game, and as soon as I know more details regarding any aspects of the game, I'll make sure to post a video updating you guys. Now, I am really sorry if I missed any details. It is entirely a possibility with me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll have a new one out soon. Until then, it goes without saying, may the Force be with you.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to lean the family, credit cards and the scammers.